Homage got the vibe, got the vibe, got the vibe.
What's poppin', everyone? Odma here, and today we'll be unboxing a new phone. The phone actually has had a lot of hype leading up to it. Well, it's actually an old phone. It was released in 2018 by a not so popular company, but still we'll unbox it and we'll see all the things that have this phone called a very good phone. And let's dig in. So this is the package that the phone came in. I ordered it about 3 days ago. Moving on to the main box itself, we see it has two layers. The first layer feels like paper, while the second layer inside has a circular texture to it. Both have the Umidigi branding on them. At the back, we see the specifications of the phone. We'll come back to these in a minute. But as for now, let's take off that first layer. And as you can see, the Umidigi branding is still there, but then my camera couldn't quite well get the circular pattern that was on it. It actually felt quite nice, quite professional. Moving on, we now come back to the specifications where we see that this phone houses a Mediatek Helio P60 processor. I'll come back to this in my impressions video. But then the best feature for me had to be global LTE bands. So no matter where you are in the world, no matter what network, you will definitely have 4G going for you, and that's pretty great. Moving on to opening the box and tearing off all those seals. So the box was actually giving me a little bit of trouble, but I finally managed to take it off, and on top we have a thank you pamphlet from Umidigi. You can pause the video to read all that is said there, but as for now, let's move on to the remaining parts of the box. We see the phone on top. My model came with the screen protector and the case already applied, so I take it out. Then this texture, the case's texture, is actually quite nice. I didn't take it off in my time of using the phone. I'll tell you why in a minute. You see the red camera module, quite beautiful. Then we have those USB Type-C ports, speaker, microphone and headphone jack at the bottom. Moving back to the box, we see an envelope with the words "Link to the World." I believe this is Umidigi's punchline or catchphrase, anyone you prefer. At the back we have the Umidigi branding and then the SIM ejector tool. Inside we see the quick starter guide. I think I'm actually supposed to read this, but it is stressful, so I'm just going to do that and just put it aside. I mean, who does that in the 21st century? Moving back to the box, we see our charging brick. This phone supports 18 watts fast charging, and the charger is actually quite huge, but I don't have a problem with it. I like the black color of it. Then, setting it aside, we come back to the USB cord, which reminds me a lot of OnePlus devices who we normally know to have red cords. Now, moving on to the phone itself, taking off the case, we start having a little issues, but then we're back. So I take off the case, and then we see a sticker at the back which shows us the phone's components. We have the dual cameras, volume and power buttons on the left, SIM card tray on the right, and fingerprint scanner in the middle. So taking off the sticker, we meet the back, which is actually quite nice, quite texture, just smooth to touch. Then I come to the front and take off that sticker also. So moving on to the fingerprint enrollment process, it's actually quite fast. It won't take you like up to half a second to do, and then right after that you're greeted with the UI, the stock Android 9 UI. As I said, the phone is running stock Android, actually Android 9 Pie, and it has a 6.3-inch display, IPS LTPS, with a water drop notch that actually reminds me of the OnePlus 6T. We see that the phone has 117 gigs of internal storage free. It also has face unlock and fingerprint unlock. I didn't set up face unlock because that is way less secure. This device also has NFC because it has a plastic back. It doesn't work through metal backs from what I heard. Now, moving on to the display. It's 409 ppi and the phone comes, like I said, with 117 gigs of internal storage out of 128, most of which was used up by this Android system, and then the other apps that were installed on top, which are mostly Google apps. So, and then putting the fingerprint sensor to the test, it takes about half a second after you place your hand on the sensor for it to come on. Now, one problem I had with the phone was the back and the fingerprint sensor are not differentiated at all, so it's like a bit hard for you to notice where it is without the case. So that's why I suggest you leave the case on. Moving on, the phone has no bloatware, just Google apps, as it is stock Android. The only thing you can actually call maybe an installed app is the music player. Then, for some very weird reason, they put the gestures and buttons in Smart Assistant, but here we see that it has three types of gestures. It has return on both sides, it has the back button on both left and right. You swipe up and hold to reset. Then we have return on the left and return on the right. I use gestures. Virtual buttons are definitely outdated by now. So we also see that in virtual buttons you can customize where the back button and the recent button can be. I actually like it. It gives us the freedom to choose, but then it doesn't have the pill gestures. For some very weird reason, it was annoying. At the back we have the Umidigi branding, and this phone overall is a very sturdy and good phone. As for the fingerprint sensor, we'll talk about that in my impressions video. Do subscribe if you want to get that video early. Thanks for watching this video, guys. See you later.